Hello everyone. Earlier today I put out a video and we were talking about the text group under the tab insert in the ribbon in Microsoft Office 365. So we talked about the text box, we talked about quick part. Um, A word art is that's something real simple. All it does, it allows you to bring in uh, like for instance, let's say if I have this text, I can go in here and change it to some different kinds of text. Once you do that, it's going to give you uh, a different tab, which is called shape box. So you can go in, align it in the middle, in the sides, or here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's say if it was there, you can go in here and align it. Let's say center of the page, right? Okay, or let's say you wanted to align it in the left side, so you could align it to the left, uh, align it to the right. Okay, um, and you can do other things like you can go in there and make it like glow. You can put a shadow. You see it right underneath there. You see like a little shadow here, and I only had a few of them selected. So you can also change the direction of the text. In other words, let's say you want it sideways, or let's say, here, let me make this bigger. See, sideways. You can also change it the other direction. Do little things like that. You can change the color of it, just like any text. You could change it to red. That's the inside of it. But on your text, on the outline, you can also change it. So, oops, it's not letting me do it. But I'm not going to talk too much about this because this is something I usually don't use. You can make it glow. There's a few things you can do with it. So this I never use it. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is signature line. You can create let's say if you create a document and you need somebody's signature, you can create this thing where they would be able to double click and either create their own signature. Like if they, I'm doing this with a mouse. Okay. Or so let me hit Control Z, cancel out of there. Or if you have a monitor, you could. I'm doing this with a monitor. Okay, and then you would send it back to the individual, so that document would be signed. So that's what this thing is right here. This signature line. Okay, now let me talk about date and time. Okay, so on date and time, I went and created a document yesterday, and the machine automatically put the date and the time. Then I did the same thing with a different function, and if you notice, today is 1/19/2020, It's 12:36. Well, this automatic updated this part here and this part, and I'm going to show you how you can add text. And so I'm going to continue adding dates and times on this thing. So if you go to the insert, you go to date and time, you can select out of this pre-selected formats. I'm going to put like today, Friday, November 19, 2021. And on this one, I'm going to hit, without selecting update automatically, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit space. I'm going to add the time. Okay, so I'm going to use that format. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, date and time. I'm going to put this format, but look what I'm going to do. Update automatically. So, and I'll do the same thing with Friday. So let's go in here and add Friday, the date, and then we're going to add the time. And we'll put this one right here. Okay, so remember, I use two different kinds of formats. I'm going to hit Control S to save this document. So on this first one, I didn't tell it to automatic update, right? And then here, I told it to automatically update. And here, I told it not to. In addition, you know, these things, you can actually go and create pull-down menus if you want. But we're just going to keep it like that for right now. So I'm going to save. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of this. Okay. And then I'm going to save that into my desktop so that I can show you. So I'm going to save, and it's going to the desktop, save, close. Now we're going to continue doing other things, and I'll come back to that and show you how it automatically updates. So I'm closing that document. So now we've talked about the signature line, the date. Now this is what I want to talk to you about, the objects. Okay, so you have objects, and so you can import something from Adobe, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so let me show you. Let me create a new document, and let me reduce this. And let me change the layout real quick here. Orientation, portrait. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go insert. I am going to go to object. I'm going to select an Adobe Acrobat document. I'm not going to click on this one yet. Actually, I will. So if I click here and hit OK, and so let's PDF withdraw. I want to create. I want to put something in here that doesn't have data, that insurance data. So give me a second here. Let's go up, and I should have some. Those are active claim. Okay. Here, let's go in here and put that document. Okay, if I hit open, all you have to do, oh, it didn't let me. So that's probably has a format that it won't let us. Okay, so let's go back, insert, object, Acrobat, hit open, and trying to find here. Let's see if there's here's a, yeah. These are just policies. Okay, so so if I click here and hit open, I'm going to close it. Okay, you see that little picture of it? it brought in the picture. And if you try to print this, even if you enlarge it, it's going to be like in a low resolution format. But basically, it's used just as a placeholder. Okay, so if you wanted to double click here, it'll open up the original. Now, when you do it that way, whatever changes you make here, and you open up this document, you would have to go in here and you would have to update it in order for it to take those changes. So another thing I could have done is I could have gone to Object. This time you see it display as an icon. I could have clicked here, hit OK, and then get the policy, hit open, and look, now it has the icon instead of the preview of it, right? Same thing, all you would have to do is double click and you would have the document, but you would want you just save the document like that. So now you can close it. Okay, so that's what that is. Now the fun part. You see this text from file? So you can bring in text from almost any program. So if I click here, and let's go to the same PDF. I'm going to click here and I'm going to hit insert. Watch what it's going to do. It inserted the text from that PDF. So you could go in here and alter this just like you would if it was the document. When it comes in, sometimes it might come at a weird format, because let's say I hit Control Z, right? I'm going to go here on my layout, and let's say that I had my document was actually 11 by 17 document, and I hit OK, and then I went in here, go to Insert, go to Object, go to Object again, Object, Text from File, click here, Insert, tell it OK. It actually changed the size of the document, which I was surprised, because I know if you have I'm going to show you something different in a minute. So if you already have a format, it's going to go by the format, and let me show you what I meant. So it brought in the text. Sometimes you have to make alterations, but overall it does a good job. Okay, now we're going to open up some Word documents, and this Word document, not open, we're going to bring them in that same format, right? So I created 3 Word documents. So here's one of them. This is 8.5 by 11, regular format. It has a header and it has a footer. Okay. Then I went and created a second page, and this one is 11 by 17, and it has it's portrait, and it has a header and a footer. Then I created a third one. This is 11 by 17 with 1-inch header margins, and then it has a header and a footer. So if I had this document open and I went in to Object, Text from File, have it in on the desktop, and so I'm going to use my first of 3 documents, So remember, this is the 8.5 by 11. I'm going to hit insert. Oh, the wrong here. I've imported the wrong one. Sorry about that. So, objects, text from file, desktop, and first of 3 document. Hit insert. Oh, that was here. Let me see why it's doing that. See, it should be bringing that one in there. Let me create a new document here. Give me a second here. Control N and layout, column, orientation, portrait, and margin we're going to leave alone. So I'm going to go to insert, object, object, text from file. Oh, okay, desktop. First of 3, insert. Okay, there it goes. So you see how it looks, right? It looks pretty close to the other one, except now let me open up the first one. The first one has a different format on the margins, right? So if you go to layout and you go to margins, you're going to notice that this one has a 1-inch margin everywhere. Okay, so what we brought into here, I had a different format. Okay, so when you go to layout and you go to your margins, I have 25, 25, 0.25, 0.25 on everything. So it took on the format of this particular one. Now, let's say that I go in and go into a different page, and now I'm going to bring in page, the second one. Remember, the other one is formatted different. So if I go to insert, we're going to go object, and this one, okay, desktop, we're going to go with second of the 3 documents. I'm going to hit insert. You see, it didn't change from a portrait to a landscape, and it kept my 1/4 inch 1/4 inch margins. In addition, it took on the header of the previous one, and I'm going to do the last one. Okay, so I'm going to move this over to a new page, and I am going to do the same thing I did. Insert, object, go to desktop. I'm going to pick the third of the 3 documents. And remember, this one's a 11 by 17 and with a different header. I'm going to hit insert. It kept the same header, the same margin areas, and it just spread it out to a bunch of documents. Okay, so now you could go in and bring in the text and the headers from that other document, but you got to be careful how you're doing that. So I deleted everything. Okay, actually it's better to go ahead and create a new document, and let's go to the layout, orientation, portrait. I'll go in here, go home, insert, object, from text. I'm going to bring the first one in, the one that says first of 3, insert, and I'm going to go ahead and give it the format that the other one had. Okay, so I'm going to go to my layout, I'm going to go to margins, and I believe that one had 1/2 inch margins, so I'll go 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, hit OK, and now it looks closer to the document that I had before. There's still the other one only had 4 pages, and this one has 4 pages. Okay, now this time, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to layout. I'm going to do a page break. I'm going to hit next page. Okay, then I'm going to click here on my header. I'm going to tell to remove the header. You see how it removed all the headers? I'm going to hit Control Z. If I click here, and I showed you this already on a previous video, but I'll show you on this one again. I'm going to click on link to previous. Now, if I click here and delete, it doesn't do nothing to my other sections, which is section 1. This is section 2. In addition, I know that my next document is going to be an 8.5 by 14 and 0.5 margins. So while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and format that document to, I'll go to layout, the page size is 8.5 by 14. The margins are 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Now, when I bring in that other document, you see this one's 8.5 by 11. This is 8.5 by 14. I've changed the format. Now go insert, object, text from file, desktop. Go to my second one, hit insert. Now the thing it didn't bring was the format. Normally it would. I don't understand why it didn't do it, but normally it would. But it did, you know. So now let's do the next one. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go to layout. I'm going to go to break. Go to click on next page. This one here, I'm going to do the same thing I did to the other one. Okay, I'm going to click here on my header. Okay, I'm going to first I want to go click on this, click to previous. That way it doesn't accept that previous one. I'm going to go in here. There's no header, so I don't have to delete the header. But I do want to go to my layout, my size, and create a 11 by 17. 11 by 17. Hit OK, and it has a so that one had a different margins. So the margins on that one is we had 1 tab 1 tab 2 tab 2. Hit OK. I'm ignoring that, and now I'm going to go in here. Oops. Go in here. Go insert, object, from text, desktop, and I'm going to pick the third one of the 3 documents, insert. You see how it brought the header? I did something wrong here. I probably didn't do one of those things, but if you do what I just did here, you should get your headers. I'm just doing this so fast because I know I go into this and I want to do it in 10 minutes. By the time I'm done, it's going to be 30-40 minutes, so I try to do this fast. But basically what this thing does here, this text from file, is going to bring in your text. Okay, now it's not just your text, but if you do it right, so let's close out of here and let's close and create a new document. So if I go to Word, create new, and it's gonna be a blank, there's no headers, there's nothing here, right? So if I click here, go insert, objects, text from file, desktop, then I have another one that's combine notes, hit insert. Now it brought everything inside that document. So if you had pull downs, it's gonna create the pull downs. If you have quick parts, like you can click here and put Hector Mendoza. Anywhere that part, that abstract is going to change the name. It has my pull downs. It gave me this header, so if I hit Control F, it has all my headers in there. So it will bring in this kind of information, but when you're bringing in doing it this way, you got to make sure that you know what you're doing. As far as if it's 8.5 by 11, you want to make sure it's 8.5 by 11. If it's 11 by 17, make sure it's 11 by 17. If it's portrait, put it portrait. If it's landscape, make it landscape. Well, that's all I wanted to show you on this. Thank you for watching this video. And so remember, this one here is part 2 of a video, and I called it Text from Insert Tab in Microsoft Office 365 part 1, and I'll name this one part 2. Thank you for watching my videos. I hope this helped you a little bit.